Hello and welcome. Joining us today is the BJP's main lawyer at the Supreme Court, one of those people and the senior advocates who won this victory for the BJP MLAs, and now there is a political war that's escalated in the state of Maharashtra. We welcome with us former AG of India, senior advocate, Mr. Mukul Rohatgi. Sir, one of the country's top lawyers. Today, a victory has been secured by the BJP MLAs in the 90-page judgment of the Supreme Court. They have come down and spoken about the behavior of the presiding officer being arbitrary and perverse. What are the arguments that need to be seen here, sir, in this historic verdict?
See, this was a case where all the democratic norms were thrown to the winds by not only the speaker, really by the House actually, because it appears that all the 11 legislators belonging to one party were suspended abruptly without any hearing, without asking for any explanation for a period of 1 year. And that was by a resolution of the House, not really the speaker. So this was, if I may use the phrase, the House was playing partisan politics, and 11 members of the opposition were just suspended in a matter of a minute or 2 or 5 without following any procedure established by law, without asking for any explanation from them as to whether they should be suspended or not. And you see, the rules provide that if the House has to suspend or expel somebody, there is a principle and a procedure for privilege, that you are breaching the privilege of the House. You have to be given a notice, you have to be heard. That procedure was not followed. The speaker also has some power, which was not utilized in this case, but is an indication from that power that this 1 year suspension was in any case illegal, because the right of the speaker to turn out an unruly member to protect the decorum of the House is either, mind you, either till for the rest of the day or maximum for the rest of the session. So you have a budget session, winter session, etc., which means it is either for a part of the day when somebody is unruly, or for a matter of 15, 20 days or a month, which is the life of the session. So the House passed a resolution because of majority of the ruling party and chucked out all these people for a period of 1 year. This was completely unlawful, unconstitutional, unparliamentarian, and undemocratic. And I'm glad the Supreme Court has come to the aid of democratic principles.
Sir, as this came, you had 1 year hearing was going on and the arguments were going on, also called these actions totally irrational. The resolution therefore has been passed as ineffective. I was just going through the words of the Supreme Court, and at one point, they've also given out lessons to parliamentarians on how to behave. In the end, they say, after expiry of the period, we believe that this particular action is non-est, unconstitutional and irrational. So the words that were used by you are now in the judgment where the Supreme Court is saying the impugned resolution is ineffective in law today.
That is true, madam, because there was no power in the House to chuck out people for 1 year in this fashion by suspension. This is not a case of expulsion. It's a case of suspension allegedly on the ground of unruly behavior. It cannot be for 1 year. It cannot be in the manner in which it is done. Therefore, it is unconstitutional. It is not provided by the Constitution or any law. And obviously, it is unreasonable because, or irrational, because you don't even hear an explanation from the person who is to be turned away. What about the constituencies these 11 people represent? Those constituencies of lakhs of people will go without a voice for a period of 1 year in the House. So if people in the constituencies have a problem, they would normally go to their elected representatives, that they would raise it in the House. You see, issues of water, electricity, and so on and so forth. None of those issues can be raised because the 11 constituencies will be without a voice. It was a very, very serious action which should have been, you see, followed or preceded by some norms, nothing was done. And therefore, it was only brute majority of the majority in the House which ultimately prevailed in this undemocratic action.
Sir, a political war will now escalate in the state of Maharashtra after this particular judgment. What do you see happening on the political landscape in Maharashtra after this, in keeping in mind that the BJP is now once again in majority there?
No, madam, I don't think it has any other ramification on the House. The House should proceed in proper democratic and dignified norms. Everybody is entitled to have his voice, whether you are a part of majority or a part of minority. So these people have suffered enough. They were suspended in the month of July. Today we are in end of January. So they've already suffered for 7-8 months. They should now get back and continue with their duties in the House. What other ripples can it have? And I don't think it is correct for the majority or anybody else to take the judgment as a personal rap or something. It was an action which was taken which was wrong. The Supreme Court has set aside that action. That's about all. I mean, why should it bother anybody any further?
Sir, my last question. A lot of BJP MLAs have come out and said President's rule should be imposed in Maharashtra. Is this judgment a valid ground now for President's rule in the state?
No, I don't think that this is a ground for imposition of president rule. There may be other
Yes, sir.
grounds, there may be
Yes, sir.
collective grounds, but this by itself is not a ground for imposing 356.
Thank you, sir, for being with us, because the larger picture, as the judgment of the Supreme Court comes, one thing is for sure: when it comes to unconstitutional actions, the Supreme Court always puts the house in order. Thank you, Mr. Rohatgi, for being with us on Republic TV.
Thank you very much.